What place does 20th century vaudeville have in this high-tech 21st century? A boisterous one, Teatro ZinZanni's Christine Deaver might say. This performer, singer, writer champions a highly physical form of interactivity in her shows. Her latest spectacle showcases the 1962 World's Fair and the belle of Seattle's coming out ball, Gracie Hansen. Where does Christine find the artistic license to inspire people to break that fourth wall with her? And what new moves does this diva need to master and perform in the attention economy? I'm Hansen Hossein. Welcome to 4 Peaks. Christine Deaver of Teatro ZinZanni, welcome to 4 Peaks.
Thank you for having me.
So this is very interesting. I love the fact that you seem to have a thing for divas, ballsy divas, and Gracie Hansen, I mean, is described as short, raucous, and witty, the belle of Seattle's ball. Why Gracie Hansen?
Well, why not? She at the time, during the '62 World's Fair, was considered the queen of the fair, excuse me. And she was consider herself like the local version of Sophie Tucker Mae West, with an entrepreneur flair in there. And she was, anyone who went to the fair and went to her show at Paradise International remembers Gracie Hansen.
So obviously folks from that generation would totally love that you've chosen to feature Gracie Hansen in this next show, but how about younger generations who've never heard of her? Why do they need to know about her?
Well, I think she just represents that kind of timeless woman who has the go-get-em attitude. Here was this woman from Morton, Washington, a little lumberjack town, and she wanted to bring a tasteful, girly show to the World's Fair. And her background literally was doing talent shows for the PTA. And her best friend, Esther Lester, brought her a news clipping from the Seattle Times and said, they're going to be doing a World's Fair in a couple of years. You should bring your talent show to Seattle. And that's her background. She didn't have a degree or any, experience in producing or, and she pulled this thing off.
Now, girly show in Seattle in the early 60s is kind of like this really crazy show you guys do at Teatro ZinZanni in Seattle today. People think that Seattle is actually a pretty withdrawn, passive-aggressive, polite place. How do you guys get away? And I thought we will show a little video of what Teatro ZinZanni looks like. I'm just going to get that started right now. I mean, this is a pretty out-there show, and you're making calm Seattleites do crazy things live in front of their friends and family.
Yes, well,
how does that work?
We have our clothes on during this show.
Okay.
I can't promise you what happens after the show, but during the show, we have our clothes on.
So what are you doing? You're serving dinner, you're making them dance, you're making improv.
I think when you walk into that tent, it's like you walk into a totally different time zone. And it's a place where anything can happen, and it does. And it transports you to some place that's fantastic for the next 3.5 hours. It's just magic. I mean, you have people doing death-defying feats over your head, literally over your head. You have people interacting. You have people bringing you up on stage and making you part of the scene. So here you are, a civilian. You paid your $100-something to go see a show. Now all of a sudden you're in the show. So it's dangerous, but in a fantastic way.
You're putting people on the spot. They don't mind that?
I think of it as honoring them. I'm not picking anyone to make fun of them per se. I look at somebody, I look at the energy or the smile on their face, and I think you would be fun to play with. And I'm going to make you the star, because when I make you look great, you make me look great.
So I was recently at a show, and I deliberately sat on my cell phone, so I wasn't looking at the cell phone at any time.
Yeah, no.
And totally focused on the show. But this is the distraction you guys are competing with. How do you deal with that?
Well, if I see someone on a cell phone, I basically just take it and put it down my cleavage. And if they try to get it, that's a whole different deal, isn't it?
Have you actually really done that?
Yes, I have.
And what did it get lost? What happened?
It's still there somewhere. I'm not sure. It's in the Grand Canyon down there somewhere. But no. But it's about letting technology. Leave that alone. You can check Facebook later on, right? Yes. But be here now. You know what I mean? Just be in this experience.
Well, that's what's so interesting to me about Teatro ZinZanni, because you would not expect, I mean, so many other live experiences, from museums to God knows whatever else, that has usually required people to go there and interact, have gone by the wayside a little bit because people think they can get it on YouTube, they can get it on their phone. Why do they need to have the live experience? It seems that you guys have done really well at maintaining the value proposition of being part of that live experience.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think it is that whole thing. Like, even when I go see, I mean, I have a background in theater. I love theater. But when I go see a straight theater production, I sit in the dark and I sit there with my hands folded, and the actors are on stage and they're performing. But there's that kind of fourth wall, if you want to call it, or the safety zone, where I know I'm the audience member and I know they're the actor, and I can sit there and, you know, do my thing, check out if I want to. I can think about what I have to do, you know, tomorrow. When you come to ZinZanni, you are in it. I mean, the action is, you know, 2 feet away from you, and then we're interacting with people. So it's like the audience is definitely part of the show. So it's this whole, it's like going to a really good party, and there's no way you can sit on the sidelines. You are in it.
That's what I actually found most daunting when I went to the show. I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's actually no stage. I'm in the stage.
Yes.
This is a little crazy.
Yeah, and the lights come on and they're on you.
Yeah, and I was like, oh God, please don't pick me. But I'm thinking, that's what I find really appealing about the show, this notion of breaking the fourth wall, that the illusion of us and them goes away. And that's very much what we're seeing generally in communication with the internet, that there's no passive audience and performer. The two are really melting together. So you guys are experts at breaking that fourth wall. I think there's a lot people can learn from you, even if they're not in the business. Is there a certain art to breaking that fourth wall without making it seem too contrived?
Well, you know, it's funny because there's other gentlemen that play the same role I do, meaning the person who does the interaction with in the audience. And when we've talked to each other, we find that we have picked similar people, or actually the same people. We might have repeat customers, and the guy goes, "I've been picked 3 times," and it's like it's an energy thing. You know, I'm not going to pick the guy that is hiding under the table, and I mean, if it's that extreme, then you know you shouldn't have even come to the show. But I'm not going to pick the guy that's waving his hand and say, pick me, pick me. But there's just an energy about somebody that says, I'm here to have a good time, and I'm open.
So you can read that energy, can't you?
Yeah, you can. And it's, people think, oh, if I don't look at her, I won't get picked, and that's not necessarily the case. It's something I can't really describe. It's just like a feeling. And
you know, and I could just translate that to a business person who's running a marketing campaign. That sounds like just really good listening, just tuning into what people are really looking for.
Yeah, and especially when you're working with the civilian who didn't plan on being on stage, and they're just kind of looking at you like, what do you want me to do? If you're tuned into them, the scene's going to go great.
But you're still walking a tightrope here, right? There's no net. I mean, you don't know what the risk is going to be. If
and
somebody
9 times out of 10 it works. There are other occasions where, you know, someone will do some strange thing, and then you go, well, I haven't experienced that. I mean, I've had guys take their clothes off for no reason.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, okay, well, now we have a naked man on stage. Not literally, but they get close. Or one has run off in tears, or one stood there in tears, and not that he was upset about it. He was, I'm just so happy. I can't stop crying. Just tears are coming down. Like, okay, well, I've had some guy take his jacket off, and he had a gun, a big gun.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, okay, I'll put the jacket back on.
Yeah. So is this a uniquely Seattle experience? I mean, you've done very well here for the last 10 or 15 years, started here. You've done a little bit in San Francisco, but why can't you be Cirque du Soleil in terms of the brand?
Well, I think it's a far more intimate product than Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil is great, but you're in a stadium, and it's like going to go see your favorite rock concert, and you go see, and they're this big, you know. What I like about ZinZanni is that it is so intimate. And I think, you know, we're just opening a new tent in Costa Mesa, California, which is Southern California, down there in kind of Orange County area. We have one in San Francisco, and then Seattle, and I think it will actually extend to other cities. You know.
Well, you know what? When we return, we'll basically look at what the challenges that Christine faces and see whether she ever has stage fright. We'll be right back. That's awesome. Well, we're back with Christine Deaver from Teatro ZinZanni. Christine, you are, you know, obviously you have you do a lot with Teatro ZinZanni, but you actually are, I don't know, an artistic entrepreneur. You do so many other things. How does ZinZanni relate to the overall Christine Deaver brand?
Well, wow, that's a good question. That's a good question.
I stumped you? Improv.
Well, I'm currently working on a solo CD right now, for instance, and I took the theme or the meat of it to base it, like if you saw me in ZinZanni and you saw the kind of characters I do, which are somewhat salacious and bawdy, but in a good way, and out there, and you kind of ramped off of that. Because one of my pet peeves is seeing an artist in whatever venue and thinking, oh, they're great, and then you buy their CD and it's like Armenian folk music.
You're not doing
like,
James Taylor covers then, right?
yeah, no rap.
Okay.
So it's kind of that. So the CD has big band and show tunes and rock and roll and jazz, and even disco. Yes, disco. And so it's all within the theme of who these personas are. So I was even talking to my producer and I said, how will we market this? Because is it adult contemporary? Is it vocal? Because each song could be on any, you could say, oh, it's rock and roll. No, it's pop.
So what's the common link for that then?
I don't know.
Is it you?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that is a challenge, is trying to figure out how to market that besides just ZinZanni. Like if you were to go to iTunes, what would you look at under, you know?
Well, it's a little crazy for you to actually be thinking about music, because we know that the music industry has kind of been in crisis for the last few years. What has compelled you to decide that you want to go in this direction?
Well, I've done a lot of cast recordings for different shows I've been in, and I'm constantly asked, do you have a solo CD? And I've always had to say, no, I don't have a solo CD, because so I decided to stop sounding like an idiot and just do one.
And you're self-producing this kind of, aren't you?
And I'm doing what a lot of people are doing these days, which is a campaign such as Kickstarter or Indiegogo or something like that, and where you raise your own funds and
So
your
people are
fans.
funding this while you're doing it.
Yes, it's almost like a PBS Drive. It's like at the $25 level, you get a free CD. At the $100 level, you get a free CD and one of my used shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the 200, whatever it is, whatever the prizes are. So it's not like you're investing and you get your money back. It is you are investing in that artist and you get some perks, but you are really part of making that artist successful.
How's it going so far, though?
Well, I gotta say, even doing it first was real humbling because I'm not good at asking for money. I gotta say, I'm not good at going, I need
I can't
money.
imagine you being shy.
Well, it just feels like I don't know. So once I got over that, then it's going well. It could go farther, but it's going well. What I've been focusing on is the artistic process of it rather than the financial, because that's not really my forte. But it's going to have to be.
So if you're doing a series of covers, and obviously marketing is going to be a challenge, we'll talk about that in the next segment, how do you bring your unique style to songs that people already know and love?
Well, for instance, I was doing a Nat King Cole song called Frim Fram Sauce. And it's always been done as a kind of a mellow jazz thing. And I listened to it and I thought, well, I like that, but I want to do it big band. So I went to my producer and said, I want a big band version of this, and I want to do some scat in there and have some funny lines in there. So there's always kind of an element of humor with it.
Did you bring in a big band to do it?
I did.
Into rural Washington, where you're in the studio right now?
In Fife, Washington, down there, down in Fife, good old Fife. And yeah, we did it.
Can you scat, right? Like, can you scat?
I can.
Like Ella Fitzgerald?
Oh, wait. Oh,
Can you scat
she
me
took
right now?
lessons from me.
Really? So scat. Now I'm doing to you what you do to all your victims of the Teatro ZinZanni show.
You have to buy the CD for that.
Okay, right.
It's too early in the morning for scatting.
Okay,
Just saying.
all right.
It's not up to my scat level
I totally understand. That's fine. I apologize for putting you on the spot like that.
Actually, it was a joke in the studio because my producer had written this part that it's really high. And when you're just listening on the headphones to your doing high scat.
Without the music or anything
yeah,
like that.
it's like someone get a gun. I mean, it's really offensive. You're like, we might want to rethink this choice.
But does it feel authentic to you? Because, I mean, that obviously comes from a certain culture and part of history. For you to be doing scat,
Yes.
do you still feel like you're sort of embodying the spirit of what...
I do. I think as long as you keep the word squeedow out of it, you're fine. Squeedow, right? You can't say that.
I can't say
you
that.
can't say that with a straight face. Squeedow. You just can't.
You know what? I'm not
Or
even going to
shooby
try.
dooby. My producer, he goes, do whatever you want, just don't say shooby dooby.
I can do shooby dooby. So after the break, we'll help extend Christine Deaver's reach. We'll be right back.
Squeedow.
So Christine Deaver of Teatro ZinZanni, let's see if we can apply a little Four Peaks therapy to your challenge. So you said you're putting together your first CD.
Well, I am on the couch.
Yeah,
so
you
we
are on the couch.
Okay.
No, I'll smoke my pipe now. So you're putting together this first CD, which is
Yes.
actually quite an amazing challenge, and you're thinking about marketing it. And some of the issue is that the music is all over the map stylistically, right? So it sounds to me that first of all you've got some immediate fans that you can appeal to, those who are working on your Kickstarter campaign. How much would Teatro ZinZanni want to help you in terms of, are you allowed to extend the Teatro ZinZanni brand to the CD itself? Can you sell it at Teatro ZinZanni? Can you say that you are Christine Deaver at Teatro ZinZanni?
Yeah, I can do that. I can cross-market it through the program. I'm going to sell it in the lobby as well. Stylistically, it looks very much kind of like a ZinZanni thing, because I got to realize that first and foremost, that is my audience. You know, I've been with ZinZanni for 8 years, and these are the people I'm kind of marketing it towards. I hope it goes bigger than that, but I got to remember that that's my first primary audience right there.
Absolutely.
So it is marketing. I don't believe that ZinZanni is going to invest in it financially, but you know, I think in terms of just availability and stylistically, it lends itself to that.
I mean, fundamentally, ZinZanni is, I mean, you could say, call it a variety show if you like, or vaudeville. It seems to me that the music represents very much that kind of style.
Yeah.
So if you saw it that way, you are obviously, you're very impressive as a character, but you're also visually really sort
Gorgeous.
of striking. Absolutely striking.
Thank you.
So
Hansen. Are you
it
sure you're
sound-
married? I'm just
I think,
saying.
well, you know.
Just saying.
So we you know,
that.
it sounds like immediately you should be putting together some kind of video. And it doesn't have to be your traditional music video, but can you use the power of YouTube to get the?
Yeah,
that's Justin Bieber did it. You could do it, right?
And Justin and I are like this.
I figured.
We're mistaken for the same person
Well,
all the
I'm
time.
Canadian, so there's only 2 Canadians. We all know each other.
That's right. That's right. You're from Vancouver. Do you know John Smith?
Absolutely.
Of course.
So what about video then? Is that
I am thinking about doing. I do a cover of. This is very bizarre. Think of the Lady Gaga song, "Bad Romance." I do a Spanish cover of that, so it's in Spanish
Can't
with
lose.
spaghetti western guitar, the en vogue vocals, harmonies behind it meets reggae funk.
Okay, you've got a winner right there. Lady Gaga as a viral video sort of vehicle you cannot lose with. In fact, at the University of Washington last year, a bunch of librarians used a Lady Gaga song to talk about the virtues of being in a library. And it actually went viral, was
Are you
featured on
serious?
Stephen Colbert's show, millions of views, because it's that universal language that people can sort of look to. And the fact that it's also in Spanish, and you got that
Yeah.
spaghetti western humor.
Yeah.
I could see you totally filming this like on a Teatro ZinZanni set and having a lot of fun with it. And yeah, that'll do great. I'd
Yeah.
actually use that as your
Yeah,
way.
I would. I have been thinking about videos. It's just that, of course, I have to have male dancers. I mean, what diva doesn't have to have male dancers?
Will they be dressed like you?
If they're dressed, yes.
Well, we have to keep this for children to be able to watch this as well.
Yes.
How about Twitter followers and Facebook? You have a lot of social
I
media
just started
following?
doing Twitter, and isn't that bizarre? I just find it bizarre because with Facebook, at least there's you can comment on something. Twitter, I send out a sentence and I'm thinking, where does it go?
It's kind of it's an unending stream.
I'm still trying to comprehend what that is.
Because Teatro ZinZanni's got Facebook and Twitter and
Yeah, they got
social media.
the whole schmeal.
I mean, you already started it with the how you're raising funds, but it seems to me that you could. I mean, Twitter is actually you expressing yourself to the world.
Yeah.
And,
So it's kind of like an AA meeting, right? You say something, but no one can talk back.
well, they will talk back, and
Will they?
if they like you enough, they can talk back.
Okay.
They'll use a little @ sign and say, okay, yeah.
Okay, so
I
they
mean,
go-
it's their way to actually have access to you in a way that they couldn't have done before. They would have had to send you fan mail, whatever else. This is much more direct. Can you imagine like Kanye West actually responding to something you've said to them?
I hope not. I hope not, 'cause Kanye and I are not on good terms anymore. After the breakup, it's just, But yeah.
You could also crowdsource your video. I mean, you
What
could
does that mean?
Crowdsource basically means, you've got the song, you put it out there to the internet or even to Seattle and say, hey, you guys can use this song. Send me your rendition of this on video, and I'll put it all together and string it together.
Oh.
It's kind of fun. I mean, it's improv, right? But
Yeah.
it's possible.
You are full of
I'm
ideas.
trying
You
my
should
best
have
to
your own
help you.
talk show.
I'm thinking, or even run a class or a program
You
in
should,
this.
yeah, you should do this professionally.
I'll think about that. Just don't bring me in as a cast member on Teatro ZinZanni.
I'm not making any promises.
But I say Lady Gaga, you cannot fail.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
start
yeah.
with that.
Me and Gaga.
Exactly. You're tight.
Yeah.
We'll be right back as Teatro ZinZanni's Christine Deaver tries to teach me a thing or two. Just don't put me on a tightrope or anything like that.
From jet travel to software to medicine, this place has given the world some big ideas. A lot of that has to do with this place. Over the past 150 years, the University of Washington has fostered one of the most creative cultures in history. And today, it's where a new generation of leaders, thinkers, and doers are changing the world again. If you have talent, curiosity, and desire, discover what's next.
Four Peaks is made possible by generous support from Weber Shandwick.
Through the magic of television, we're suddenly here at Teatro ZinZanni, and Christine Deaver is about to teach me something, and I hope it's not too painful.
Oh, it wouldn't be fun if it's not painful.
Okay.
So
what am I going to learn?
This is my office right here, as opposed to where there's paper and computers. It's full of makeup and feathers and sequins and whatnot. So I'm going to teach you how to have the diva essence, and it starts from the outside going in. So let's first apply our pink makeup, shall we? I mean, pink wig, excuse me. The pink makeup's later.
I mean, and my first question about becoming a diva is, are divas exclusively female?
I don't think they have to be. I think it's an attitude.
Okay.
And speaking of attitude, look in the mirror.
It's not quite my color, but I think I like the length.
Sisters, sisters, there were never such devoted sisters. Okay.
I knew from the moment that you and I met that we had a bond.
You're my brother from another planet, right?
And another planet.
Okay, so sparkly eyeshadow. The technique here is, if less is more, just think how much more is. So heavily application.
So more is more?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you this little application. You can pick your color, blue, purple, green, whatever.
Okay.
And in the crease of the eye.
Oh, that's where it goes.
I will show you. We'll start with that.
I can see how more
Or
is
if you
more.
want, just go throughout the whole eye. What the hell?
Well, you said more is more.
I know. I
actually was doing some finger
I
painting with
love
my
your
daughter
boldness.
this morning.
It's right. Think of it as finger painting.
I didn't put any TV makeup on today, so this is going right on.
This is good. This is au naturel. Look how pretty you are. You didn't want to work professionally anymore, did
No,
you?
I just want to make sure that nobody ever hires me to do this, right? So,
I think you sensed that deal.
So here's this is the easy. This strikes me as the
Well,
easy
let me
part,
give you.
right?
Let's finish it with the.
This is like all the outer dressing,
There we go.
but I don't feel like a diva.
I think being a diva is about an attitude, and while most people think being a diva is being very difficult, I like to think of a diva being professional and letting your talent speak for itself.
You know, I'm a professor and I teach people.
Not anymore.
Do you think they're going to respect me after this?
Hell no. No, they will. You
Oh,
know
good.
what?
I was looking for a career shift anyway. Obviously
You can
not
be my
to this.
understudy.
I would love to be your understudy.
You look fabulous,
Thank
Hansen.
you.
Look at this. We're ready for big time.
Well, Christine Deaver has just taught me how to be a diva. I don't think I've got the attitude, but I at least got the style.
Yes.
We'll take you back to our studio for the rest of Four Peaks. Well, that was probably fun, I think. Thank you.
It was fun for me.
Thank you, Christine Deaver of Teatro ZinZanni.
You're a good sport.
Well, thank you. You are too. We invite you all to extend your reach by connecting with us at fourpeaks.org. I'm Hansen Hossein. So maybe I should. Production of Four Peaks would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors.